This video was created to show classroom teachers the new Timetable V2 control in the PCSchool Spider. To access the Timetable V2, you can do that through the Timetable menu and select Timetable V2. Upon opening, it will default to the logged on teacher and to the current date. If the current date is outside of a timetable period, so during school holidays, the timetable shown below will be the timetable for the next school days, so it might be in a week's time or so. With the timetable, so it will show the days down the left hand side and then your periods going along the top. So it'll show your periods for each day in that timetable cycle. With the periods, if the teacher is not teaching within those periods, it will be white. Where they are teaching, it will be shown in orange. And for those classes, you do have two shortcut buttons. So you have a role marking and a My Classes. So if we go to the My Classes first, when we click on that shortcut button there, that opens up, and over on the right hand side it will list the students in that particular class, as well as the different options you have for class-based shortcuts. And then with the individual students, you might see that some of them have coloured bars beside them. If you click on those bars, it will then show you any alerts that that student has. So that would be student alerts, family alerts, special needs, medical comments, etc. To close that, click on that little pop-up. You can also click on the individual student's name and look up information such as caregivers, address, emergency contacts, etc. So if we click on caregivers for Sam, that will then come up and show who are listed as Sam's caregivers. So it will indicate whether the student lives with that particular caregiver, and if they're not the actual mother and father and a different status has been applied for the relationship to that child, it will then show that in there as well. So here we can see these are Sam's grandparents. Gives you their contact details, occupation, etc. So we can close that. So if you wanted to look up any other information for those students, absences, medical incidents, special needs, things like that, you can just click on the student and that information is available. With the class, so you do have these shortcut buttons along the top here. The first one is the class reports. So click on this. This allows you to print things like class lists, do teacher checklists when you're doing your assessment reporting, print the actual assessment reports if you want to have a look at those. So if we just have a look at some class reports here, you've got three options with your reports. You've got a quick print that simply creates the report as a PDF and downloads it to your download folder. Then you can just click on that and that will open that in your PDF browser. You've also got advanced print, so this is the same as the quick print, but it does give you the parameters for the report, so you can modify those and change it to a different year, different class code, etc. that you might need to, and again that downloads it as a PDF. Next you've got your view, so this will again give you your parameter values, but it will produce the report on screen for you. You do just need to be careful that it doesn't come up with a pop-up blocker, so just check your browser and see if it says anything about pop-ups being blocked. So from there you then have options to be able to print the report or download it, etc. So that's the first shortcut, is the class reports. Next you have your export to Excel. So if we click on that, that will create an Excel document for us. We can then open that and that will create a list of the students in Excel. So that pulls out their individual or unique student hash, their student key, full name and their email address, and then you can just use the columns for whatever else you need to. You also have the ability to email based on class, so if you need to send an email to all of the students in your class or the parents of the students or the other teachers of the students, here it comes up, shows the students who are in the class. If we want to email those, we can then click on the button over here that will take all of their email addresses. We might also want to email the parents, so we can go to primary caregivers That'll show all the caregivers that have email addresses to use, and we can add those. Once you've got your list of who you want to send emails to, you can then go to your email interface. Shows all of the email addresses. Type in your subject. You can attach files, so that's videos, photos, permission documents or permission forms, etc. Type in your letter here and then send email, and that will email that out. PCSchool doesn't keep a copy of the email, so you are best to also include yourself or provide a CC to your own email address so it creates a copy there. So that's emailing the parents or the students or the teachers of the kids in that particular class. Next you have your class document. So if you're using the document manager, this would be where copies of students' assessment reports are saved, where copies of birth certificates, medical assessments, things like that might be saved in the various folders that are attached to the students. So you would have your students down the side here. To select a different student, just click on them, and then you've got the folders along the top here that you have access to. So depending on what your permissions are, you might only have the assessment, the timetable, year, subject and common, as opposed to also having the general and restricted, but that's based on your school's security. If you want to add a file in here, if it's a PDF file that you want to add, you can simply drag and drop it into the folder. If it's something other than a PDF document, you can then choose the file and select it and upload it. So that's if it's things like assessment outlines or an assignment the students completed and you want to put a copy in their document manager folder. It might be for that particular subject. The students did a performance and you recorded it, so you can put it in the actual subject folder, so all of the students who are doing that subject can access it, or the parents of the students can access that. So that's the document manager option. You also have homework for class, so if you are using the PCSchool timetable for your parents and your students to use to see when particular events are happening at the school, teachers can also allocate homework through here. So they can click on the class that they want, click on the allocate homework, add a new event, and that will then come up with the screen to be able to enter in homework. So that might be something like read chapter 14 and write a 100-word synopsis of what it covered, etc. And then you just save. So you put in the date. That means at the end of the day the kids can go onto their calendar through the Spider portal, see what their assignment is or their homework is for the day. Parents can also go in and see what sort of homework has been set for the students to make sure that they do that. Subject assessment program details. So this is a new control that we're creating where you can set up specific assessment programs for students, so modified assessments for each of the students in your class. And then you've also got your attendance. The next one is the attendance analysis. So this one at the moment probably won't give very much information as the roles haven't been marked for this year being the new school year. But when you click on that button, it will go through and it will give you an attendance analysis of the students in your particular class. It'll give you an overall for all of the students, a breakdown of attendance rates for boys, for girls, and then for the year. And then you can actually drill down on that and call up individual students and look at their individual attendance rates. If you're marking the role subject by subject, you can actually have a look at what their attendance rates is per subject to see what subjects they do and don't like or have high and low attendance for, and also just get an overview of the year. So that's the attendance analysis. Then you have the mark book. So if you're using the mark book with formulas, then this is a shortcut to get to that particular control from your timetable control. And then in the same way you've got your result entry, so that will take you to the result entry where you have your radio buttons or drop down lists for entering in your student assessment results and comments. Then lastly, the final button here is the role marking. So this button here is the same as the role marking button on the actual timetable over here. When you click on that, that will open the role marking screen for that particular class. So that will open with the teacher, the date, and because we had already selected the class, it'll come up with that particular subject as well. So period 2 for today, Year 8 Mathematics, and you have your role there ready to mark. So that's the new timetable control. This is probably the main control that most secondary school teachers would use, where the school is using the timetable within PCSchool. To be able to add this as a shortcut on your home page, you do have this little star icon here. So when we click on that star icon, that then adds it as a favourite. If we then go back to the home page, click on your name. If we select refresh here, that will refresh the screen. And here we have the timetable information V2 control. So rather than having to go to the timetable and select it, it automatically appears on our screen here. You can also, if you want this to be your home page, so rather than when you log on it comes up with this screen here with this as a shortcut, you can, while you're in the timetable V2 control, you have this little heart icon over here, so next to the star. So if we click on that, that will then set this particular screen as your portal home page. So when we log out and log back into the Spider, rather than opening to the normal home page where you then have to go into the favourite of the timetable V2 control, it will actually open to the timetable screen as your main home page straight away. So that's a screen it takes you into. You know that you're working on your Year 8 English, so you can click on your My Classes. It'll then come up with the students in that particular class. You can mark the role, do whatever you need, do assessment reporting, etc. If you want to set your normal home page back, so the original home page, you simply click on this little house icon here. That will take you back to the standard home page in the Spider, and then in here you've got a little heart icon again, and you can say I want to reset this as my portal home page. So that will then become your portal home page again. So that's the timetable control.